Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're with me Arun Sharma, and today we are talking about an important this is an important video for all of you preparing for CAT 2022, and this video is about 5 common mistakes to avoid, specifically if you're starting your preparation from April, and people who start around this time, March April time frame, they make these 4-5 common mistakes which are very dangerous and very damaging to your CAT prep strategy, as well as your possible outcomes out of 8 months of CAT prep plus the GDPI process. So this video is going to be about that, and you're with me Arun Sharma, and you're on the channel Arun Sharma Mindworks. I'd remind you that we are currently left with around 200 days of solid CAT prep. Why 200 is because I don't count November. If you're preparing for CAT 2022, October 31st should be your deadline date. If I want to score 110 marks in CAT, I should be getting 110 in my mocks by October 31st, because any work that you leave for November is basically crisis work, which you should try to avoid in terms of your prep cycle. So October 31st को अगर देखोगे तो we have around 200 days left, which is approximately 30 weeks. 210 days left, which is approximately 30 weeks. And without any further delay, let's move into the mistakes that I want to talk to you about. So mistake number 1, and this is specifically done a lot by people who are starting off prep now, and that is covering the Quants syllabus only once. Right now, this is a huge mistake, because the mistake that this creates, or the error that this creates in your preparation strategy, is this: that specifically those of you who are not very skilled in maths, let's say even for those of you who are at 97-98 percentile skill level at maths, please understand one thing, that we are talking about when you're talking about Quant scores. Current CAT pattern is 22 questions, 66 marks. The top guys are scoring, it depends on whom you're competing with. So if you're trying to compete with the top guys, out of the 66 marks, they are scoring something like 50 plus. You're 99.9 percentile competitor. And if you think that by studying every chapter once, all the 20 chapters, and let's say you are at current level of ability where you are able to score 10 to 20, or maybe slightly better, even those of you in the 30s. If you think that you want to compete with these people, and you think that one round of preparation on everything will take you from here to here, please get rid of that illusion. It's not going to happen, right? I mean, if my skills in, let's say, time, speed, distance are average or below average to start with, and I study time, speed, distance over a week, I cannot simply think about, and it's a strategic error, it's a calculation error to say that I will be able to compete against the 100 percentiler, or even the 99.5 percentiler, who's much superior in his thoughts on the topic, who knows the topic for the last couple of years inside out. You are trying to bargain, or you're trying to calculate that if I studied for 1 week during my prep process, I'll be ready for the chapter. It's not going to happen. So get rid of the delusion. And my personal suggestion is that you should have at least 3 rounds on every chapter. The first round can be a week long. The second round, as I mentioned in the other video the other day, where I talked about the do's of Quants prep, the 7 do's for CAT prep. Just watch that video. It's part of this playlist that we have created for CAT preparation for CAT 22 from April. So 7 do's में मैंने ये भी बताया था कि Quants का first round तुम्हारा करीब 7 days का होना चाहिए, and second round, third rounds need not be 7 days long. Maybe it might require some of you to be, for some of you it might be 7 days long, but for most people, at least people in this range, I would estimate that the second round will just be 3 days long. So if you're talking about broadly, thumb rule, 210 days, 20 chapters, 140 days, and then you start doing 20 chapters, and not all the 20 chapters require a 3-day second round, because they are smaller chapters also. So your second rounds can be completed around 30-40 days with 10 major chapters and 8 to 10 minor chapters. So 40 days अगर तुम second rounds के लिए budget करते हो, first round, third round could just be a 1 day visit or maybe a 4-hour visit to the chapter. So just make sure that you do that. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 people make in their preparation strategy is not focusing enough on comprehension and development, comprehension development and language development, and this is with respect to VRC section. Not focusing enough on comprehension and language development, but only focusing on solving. This is a huge mistake again. Now please understand one thing. I often see people solving questions, and that too worse than focusing only on solving. I also see people starting from CAT questions directly when they start preparing for the VRC sections ki solve karke dekhte hain. Please understand one thing. Let's say you start solving under time limit, and you start solving, let's say कि मैं एक RC passage 8 to 10 minutes में करूँगा, and you take a small test on reading comprehension and do 3 passages in a 30-minute time frame, and these 3 passages have 12 questions, right? Now in case, let's say you get an average score of, let's say 6-7 correct, you try all the 12 questions, you get somewhere between 6-7 correct, and out of 12 you get 5-6 wrong, which means your accuracy rate is around 50%. Now when this happens, accuracy rate 50%, and you start saying, okay, let me keep doing more solving, and I'm trying to push this to 9, 10, 11. That's what majority of the people are trying to do. कि RC सॉल्व करते हैं, एक राइट एक गलत आता है, 50-50 आता है, 60-40 आता है, और इसको मेरे को 80-20 करना है, राइट? नाउ in RC or in verbal, it is not about how much practice you have done. Please understand that. Quants में जितना practice करोगे उतना तुम्हारा better रहेगा. वो DI LR जितना practice करोगे, more practice is proportional to more marks. But in VRC, more practice is not proportional to more marks. Because suppose I take this call, okay, I started my RC preparation with 3 tests, with a test of 3 reading comprehension passages, and I got 6-7 correct out of 12. ठीक है? And then I decide I want to get to 10 out of 12 because that's what the toppers are able to do. The toppers are able to do 10 or 11 out of 12. If I solve a CAT RC, normally I get all 4 or 5 of them correct. If I do 12-13 questions, maybe 1 or 2 might go wrong at max. So that's what the toppers do. So then the question then arises, okay, I want to get to 11 out of 12 or 10 out of 12. So what you do is you go into more practice. You keep doing RCs and you keep doing RCs and you keep doing RCs, and then you realize that the score is stuck at 6-7. Because if you investigate the underlying construct, the underlying construct is, suppose we remove the time limit. I give you कि okay, तुम एक RC 30 मिनट में करो, एक RC 30 मिनट में करो, राइट? एक RC 30 मिनट में करो, और तुम मेरे को 12 क्वेश्चन करके दिखाओ कि कितना राइट आता है तुम्हारा, और वहाँ पे तुम you come back to me and you try that, okay, 3 RC, same level of RC question or RC passages, and I solve 3 RCs in 90 minutes. The time limit is not an issue. I try to do the best I can, and then I realized that when I do that, my score is 8 out of 12. So if my 90-minute score, unlimited time, let's call it unlimited time score, is 8 out of 12, then no matter how much practice I do in RC, I'm not going to get more than 6. This is a great score in that context. So if I want to improve my comprehension and my percentage conversion in comprehension or verbal, any question type, I'll have to raise this first. Unless with unlimited time I can get 12 out of 12 right or 11 out of 12 right, I can't hope to get 10 out of 12 right in a shorter time frame or in time limit. And hence, if I'm continuing solving all the time and doing more and more solving so that I can break through this barrier, it's like you're a bull hitting its head against a wall, and all you're going to get is get bloodied and get hurt. And that's what happens to majority of people. So this is one aspect. So your focus, your focus has to push this up, and to push this up, if you need to develop your comprehension, if you need to develop your language, you need to develop your knowledge of phrasal verbs, your knowledge of vocabulary. You better do that the cycle has to move to that rather than move to more and more practice, right? RC में क्या है, 50 RC भी practice कर लो, अगर ये सही है तो फिर speed का काम तुम आराम से करके as far as you are good at this, you can get 11 or 12 right, then speed work is maybe just 50 to 100 RCs, that's it. You don't need to practice more than that. It's not about practicing 500 reading comprehension passages. So that's the second mistake people do. Before we go to the next this thing, just wanted to talk to you about the Arun Sharma CAT Challenge mock test series. So I've given my personal brand to this test series because I created this test series, and I kind of there's a lot of passion inside the building of this test series that we actually put in. A lot of passion, a lot of effort, and the same kind of passion and effort that you see in my books. If you have used my books or you are aware of my books, the same kind of passion is now going into building the Arun Sharma CAT Challenge. And so what does that entail? What does that passion entail? The passion entails a few things. The passion entails that when you build a test, it's not just a conglomeration of 66 questions that you bring together. You have to calculate for every question. Let's say you're putting a quants question. CAT has the thumb rule of every quants question. I can show this to you across 20 years of CAT papers, which is saying a big thing. I can show this to you that there's no question that goes beyond 3 or 4 steps. So if I'm putting a very good quality quants question, which is 8 steps long in my mock test series, it's not valid. CAT has a principle that I mean, when you look at quants questions can be algebraic. Quants questions can be such questions where you need to have a very strong knowledge of algebra to solve it. Then there can be questions which can be solved completely just through numericals. And then there are questions in which you can use a little bit of algebra and use numericals to solve it. So, and the thumb rule in CAT is that questions which are completely algebraic are never asked. You can look at 20 years of the CAT paper, go back to 1999, the time from which CAT is relevant, past years questions are relevant. You can check every question. I cannot think of a single question where if you it was only dependent on extreme knowledge of algebra to solve it. So either it was there were questions which are completely numerical, which would be around 50% questions, and the other 50% questions would be part algebra, part numerical. And you have to take care of these things when you build a test series for CAT, because it's a mock series which has to give you the experience of solving the actual CAT on the D-Day, right? So when you go into the CAT on the D-Day, you should feel that you're just solving another mock test. That feeling has to happen, and we are sure that our test series this year is going to give you that. The third aspect, of course, in comprehension, there has to be absolutely no ambiguity. Of course, CAT में भी आजकल ambiguity आ रहा है, but we do test, put every question to the test key, to that test, which I'm not sure all other test series are doing currently. Key, if I put a comprehension question or if I put a parajumble question, I have to be able to stand up and explain the answer to 1 lakh people. Why I'm saying C is the answer and not B. So unless I do that, unless I put that filter on my questions, the question is not relevant from the CAT viewpoint, and what you learn out of solving questions which are ambiguous is something which is complete waste of your time. So these filters we apply, the DILR filter of around 8 to 10 steps in the question, good quality questions, but also 8 to 10 steps, not 30 step questions. So these filters we apply into a test series before we build a test. Anyway, let's come back. So those of you who want to look at that can check the test series. The details are provided in the description of the video. So mistake number 3, underdoing your DILR prep. This is mistake number 3, big mistake. What happens when you start preparing, and in fact in any coaching program also this happens. Quants, the coaching institute has to cover a lot of teachers, a lot of questions, a lot of chapters. So there'll be a lot of focus in doing quant syllabus from the teachers. The teachers will have a lot of focus in creating the quants the quants chapters and covering the chapters with you, any coaching program. So what happens is you get a backbone for your quants, and you start doing your quants with that backbone ki every week एक chapter कर रहे हो, so you get an immediate backbone in quants. So when you get up in the morning, you know कि okay, this week this chapter I'm doing, so I'm covering it. Verbal and comprehension, you know broadly. You realize that you have to do your vocabulary and you have to do your reading, etc. So there is a component of a decent component of verbal and vocabulary and your comprehension work on a weekly basis. DILR is something that goes under the radar because even from perspective of teaching, I often tell people that DILR mein there's no theory. It's mostly assisted problem solving and self problem solving. Somebody was asking me the other day in my Ask Me Anything session last Sunday, ki when we pick up your Quants book, the theory is very beautifully explained, and then when you go into the questions, we've got a fair idea. But when you go into the LR book, there are a few questions solved, and then straight away the exercise starts. So please understand that in those subjects, in LR and DI, there's actually no theory that can be written. What theory can I teach you in arrangements? It's like a experientially learned subject. So your preparation, you have to dive straight into DLR. Remember one fact, that in the exam, whatever the exam is, whether it's a 2-hour exam or a 3-hour exam, remember this: 1/3 of your time you're only going to spend. What you did for your verbal preparation, what you did for your quants preparation is not going to help in 1/3 of your time in the exam. And since you're preparing for 120 minutes or 180 minutes, whatever it is, you're preparing for a 120-minute पेपर करंट पैटर्न अगर लेते हो तो उस 120 मिनट्स का 40 मिनट्स तुम्हारे DILR पे डिपेंडेंट होने वाला है. नाउ सम पीपल व्हाट दे डू, द मिस्टेक दे मेक इज दे ट्राई टू से कि ओके पहले क्वांट्स कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद DILR कर लेंगे बाद में. तो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस. इट इज़ लाइक सेइंग दैट आई मीन लेट्स से यू वांट टू गो इनटू एन एक्सरसाइज रेजिमेन एंड लेट्स से यू डिसाइड दैट यू विल डू 100 hours of exercise over the next 100 days. So you do 1 hour per day for 100 days. Scenario 1, this person A. Person B says ki okay, I have to do 100 hours of exercise in 100 days. So what I'll do is I'll do 5 hours of exercise for 20 days, and before that and after that I'll not do anything more. So the question becomes who will be fitter, A or B, at the end of 100 days. So you understand that A will be much fitter because he will have, I mean the outcome that you get out of doing something regularly over a longer period of time is much more. And then you, specifically in terms of learning, even in terms of learning, यहाँ पे you can argue that somebody who's exercising for 5 hours per day, his body capacity etc. would have really gone up. But that's fine. But when you talk about learning something, 1 hour per day for 100 days, because when you learn something, it also you need time for it to seep into your mind. So if you try to crash learn, कि okay मेरे को 300 सेट करना है DI में, 300 सेट करना है LR में, तो मैं क्रैश कर दूंगा. चलो ठीक है, मैं पहले क्वांट्स कर लेता हूँ पहले 20 हफ्ते, उसके बाद अगले 5 हफ्ते में 50 सेट करके ख़त्म कर दूंगा. So what happens is the thought process don't seep into your mind. It's like I think a better analogy will be cooking something and you are trying to put spices into it. So the spices take some time to get into your dish and give off their taste. If you try to do it in a crash form, it won't happen. Which is why perhaps in spite of the microwave oven being there, we still cook on our gas stoves and our tawas. So remember this. Don't underdo your DILR prep. This is one of the biggest mistakes people do, and you should typically either be on a 15 sets per week. DILR में तो sets होते हैं, तो 15 sets per week on DI, 15 sets per week LR. If you can do a little more, get to 20-25 sets per week on DI plus LR. So that and run the DILR preparation across at least the first 20 weeks. If I'm talking about a 30-week period, first 20 weeks consistent run karo. This is something that you need to remember. And the outcomes of doing 300 sets over 20 weeks will be much larger than doing 300 sets over 5 weeks or 6 weeks, because you don't get the seepage time. And then you are just covering, and when you can't solve a question, you'll just go and ask someone to finish the question, because your objective is to finish the question, not learn how to solve. And when you start doing that and you start taking those shortcuts, inside the exam when you have a doubt, you'll have nobody to help you answer, and your mind is not equipped because you've not learned how to tackle your doubts. So just make sure that you're running your DI LR prep consistently. And fifth and final mistake number 4 is errors in your testing strategy, timeline and number. I've talked about this in the context of your do's, and the biggest mistake in this is the timeline. That if you try to crash your testing experience should be at least 4 to 5 months long, and if you try to crash your testing experience into 2 months, you say that I have defined a number that I want to take 40 full length mock tests and some, let's say 10 sectional tests each on each section. तो वो तुम क्रैश करके 40 दिन में भी कर सकते हो, लेकिन the outcome of doing 40 tests across 5 months will be much better than doing 40 tests over 40 days, because 2-3 things happen with your testing. One is when you test, you also try to analyze what's happened inside the test. So 2 kinds of analysis you have to do with the test. So it's not just taking the test. One analysis is the performance analysis, the second analysis is the question analysis. So performance analysis is where you're analyzing your performance. What point of time did you go wrong, what kind of questions did you have a problem with, where did you get stuck, where did your mind lose it, etc. Did you have a series of 5-6 questions where you had only 20% accuracy? Those kind of things you try to look for in performance analysis. And in question analysis, of course, you go back into every question. Please remember, 40 tests if you take, it's close to 1,000 questions in quants. It's 1/3 of your quants preparation. Quants preparation typically is 3,000 to 4,000 questions. So 1/3 of 1/4 of your quants preparation, basic preparation is your test, is what you'll get out of the test. So the questions that you do, and if you're picking up a good test series, the value of the questions will be very high in terms of what it teaches you once you've finished your portion. So it takes some time to integrate all those learnings into your head. If you are in that mode कि 40 दिन में 40 टेस्ट करेंगे, नंबर 40 फिक्स कर दिया, 40 दिन में 40 टेस्ट करेंगे, तो it does not work as well. And also from your tests you also get from your analysis you also get feedback about what more I need to work on. So if you are in that 40 days 40 tests, or 60 days 40 tests, or even 90 days 40 tests, you can do the analysis and you can do the test, and then the next day the next test is in front of you. You don't have any time to work back on things that are going wrong. So don't make these mistakes. And as I mentioned, the answer I give to people who ask me this question, if I'm starting in April, my syllabus will go till August, September, so how can I start the tests? So I tell people, okay, take your syllabus to October, no issue, but make sure that you start your tests with maybe 60% syllabus completion. You can do that. Okay, when I started preparing for CAT, my first day was a test, my last day was a test. I had no preparation where I said कि 4 महीने पहले prepare करेंगे. So a lot of people do it that way also. And the last mistake number 5, again a big mistake, is just focusing on November and not focusing on February, March, because your CAT prep journey fructifies only when you go beyond the percentile in the CAT, and you also, you're getting a percentile in the CAT to get that chance to crack the interview. And if you have mismanaged your profile during this time, done nothing, wasted your time, not built any passions, etc., to improve your what is there in a biodata, and when your biodata is sent, your profile is sent into the interviewer's room. I've been an interviewer at multiple B schools, top B schools, sitting on the other side. When we read those profiles before you come into this thing, there is a respect quotient that gets created for the candidate. And I remember very distinctly, maybe around out of the thousands of candidates I must have interviewed in B schools, maybe 100, 150, 200 of them, जिसके बारे में जिसका प्रोफाइल देख के लगा कि wow, this guy is good. I think if he matches what I see on his profile, I should pick him. And please remember, international B schools, you want to apply to Harvard, you want to apply to Stanford, they only look at the profile. So that profile is so critical that these top B schools internationally don't even have an interview. They just look at a profile and select you. So the profile is a very important aspect of your this thing. So there are 2 parts of the profile, the software and the hardware. The hardware you can't change. Where you did your 10th from, where you did your 12th from, you can't change those things. What subject you studied in graduation, what is your graduation percentages, if you have finished it, then those things you can't change. But then there's the software, the things which are getting formed now. What you are doing, what are your interests, what are your passions, what are your hobbies, what subjects do you like to study, what things do you like to read. These are kind of things that would actually give you that extra currency in the exam to actually max the paper. So just make sure that you don't mismanage your profile. During this time we'll come up with more videos on profile management, etc. Very soon. Do write write comments on the videos. I would be glad to respond to every comment that comes on the videos, and do write comments. Help us get more this thing. The YouTube algorithm also requires more commenting, so I would request all our fans and all our viewers to actually do some commenting apart from liking the videos, and do subscribe to the video in case you have not. And our courses, we are starting CAT 20 to 23, 5th, 15th and 25th of the month. We start batches, we start new groups, and that's available. So if you're looking for a CAT training program with me, this is where I would be doing the entire mentoring as well as the complete course for you. And the Mindworks CAT Plus program, the CAT Plus program also, apart from the main program, apart from the CAT Prep program, it also includes programs on soft skills and communication skills development, personal development, personality development, courses on economics, history, digital marketing. You will have a personal profile assessment from me if you join the CAT Plus program, and then based on that personal profile assessment, also a personal profile building guidance to you, what you should do and what you should not do. Of course, we give that profile building guidance to our basic course students, and the additional thing is that there are certificates attached with all additional courses. So we'll be giving you certificates for all the courses you do, which are non-CAT courses, which we do under this umbrella. Chalo, so that's it. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Do inquire about our courses. The phone numbers are given in the description of the video, and I'll see you soon. Please let me know what other videos you want, what other topics you want me to get covered. And just as a final parting message to you, we are reorganizing all the videos. I realized that our channel was a little bit haphazard with respect to the content inside, right? But we are reimagining the channel. We are reimagining the whole content flow, etc., so that the long-term value content like Quants questions, Quants chapters which we have taught on the YouTube channel, etc., those videos start coming into the forefront, so that you can look at the channel and use it as your CAT prep journey, CAT or even aptitude prep journey companion and partner, right? Chalo, bye bye. Thank you so much.